Welcome back to the channel, Rare Coins History, coin lovers and collectors. Today's journey into the world of coins will take us to a tiny but powerful piece of American history, the United States Lincoln 1-cent penny from 2009. Don't let the size of this coin fool you. What seems like a simple penny could actually be a hidden treasure worth thousands of dollars. Grab your magnifying glass and stay with us to the very end, because you'll be amazed to find out how one little penny could be worth as much as $45,000. Let's dive in. The year 2009 wasn't just another year for the Lincoln penny. It marked a special moment in U.S. history, the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent itself. To commemorate this historic milestone, the U.S. Mint released 4 unique reverse designs, each one telling a story from Lincoln's incredible life journey. From a humble log cabin to the White House, these special edition 2009 pennies include Birth and Early Childhood in Kentucky, featuring the log cabin where Lincoln was born, Formative Years in Indiana, showing a young Abraham Lincoln taking a break from rail splitting to read a book, Professional Life in Illinois, depicting Lincoln as a young lawyer standing before the state capitol, Presidency in Washington, D.C., showing the unfinished U.S. Capitol dome as a symbol of a nation in progress. Each of these designs is rich with symbolism and historical importance. And here's where things get exciting. Not all of these coins were created equally. While most people use these pennies for everyday transactions, some rare versions, especially those with certain mint marks, special errors, or high-grade conditions, have become hot items among collectors. The mint marks you'll want to watch for are P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. But more than just the mint mark, it's the condition and striking quality that can send the value of this penny skyrocketing. So what should you look for? First, the coin's condition. If you have a 2009 Lincoln penny in uncirculated or mint state condition, especially graded MS 67 or higher by a professional grading service, you may already have a valuable item. These coins often have sharp, clean details and no signs of handling or wear. Second, be on the lookout for minting errors. These could include double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and more. For example, some 2009 pennies have been found with extra fingers on Lincoln's hand, or doubling on the dome of the Capitol. Errors like these make the coin exceptionally rare and extremely desirable. Another thing that adds major value? Satin finishes or proof versions of these coins, particularly from San Francisco. These coins were often included in special mint sets and never entered circulation. Their shiny, mirror-like appearance and flawless quality make them collector favorites. What's most surprising is how quickly the value of these coins has climbed in the collector's market. The demand for error coins and pristine condition 2009 cents has exploded over the past few years. Many collectors are willing to pay huge premiums to get their hands on the rarest examples, and now, the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to own a 2009 Lincoln 1-cent penny with a mint mark, in flawless uncirculated condition, or with a significant minting error, it could be worth up to $45,000. Yes, you heard that right. $45,000 for a penny that once had a face value of just 1 cent. So before you toss that jar of spare change aside, take a second look. That little copper coin from 2009 could be a life-changing discovery. Today, we're unlocking the fascinating story behind a small but mighty piece of American history, the United States of America Lincoln 1-cent penny from 1970 with a mint mark. Yes, you heard that right, a tiny copper coin from 1970 that might be sitting unnoticed in a jar, a drawer, or a collection right now could be worth a jaw-dropping $62,000. So grab your coins and stay with us, because this isn't just about money, it's about discovering a rare piece of the past that could turn an ordinary penny into something extraordinary. Let's begin our journey with a little background. The year 1970 was a dynamic time in American history. The country was experiencing social change, political movements, and economic shifts. Against this backdrop, the humble Lincoln penny continued its journey across the hands of millions of Americans, used in candy shops, newspaper stands, and everyday life. But not all 1970 pennies were created equally. You see, the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for over 60 years by 1970. Originally introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's face. Over the years, the design became iconic, Lincoln's solemn profile on the obverse, and the beautiful image of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But what makes the 1970 penny so incredibly special? Why are collectors across the country, and even the world, searching for this particular coin? Let's break it down. In 1970, Lincoln cents were produced at several different mints, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. These mint marks, identified by the small d or s letters beneath the date, can dramatically impact a coin's value. Among the most famous of these is the 1970 Lincoln penny, struck at the San Francisco Mint. But it's not just the mint mark that makes the difference. It's all about rarity, condition, and errors. That's where things get exciting. Many of the 1970 Lincoln cents, especially those from the San Francisco Mint, were struck as proof coins. These proof coins were not meant for circulation. They were made with special dies and polished blanks to produce a mirror-like finish and incredibly sharp details. Some of these proof coins, though rare to begin with, were made with minting errors that dramatically increased their value. The most famous among them? The 1970 small date Lincoln cent with a double die obverse, also known as a DDO. In this coin, the doubling of the date and the word Liberty is clearly visible under magnification. This wasn't a design feature, it was a minting mistake. But in the world of coin collecting, mistakes like this aren't flaws, they're treasures. Why? Because error coins are unique. They're one-of-a-kind anomalies that slipped through the quality checks and made their way into circulation or collectors' hands. And in the case of the 1970 small date double die, this error has made it one of the most valuable pennies ever produced in modern American history. But the story doesn't end there. Some of these 1970 pennies, especially those in mint state condition or better, have sold at incredible auction prices. Coins graded MS-65, MS-66, or even MS-67 by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC are so pristine that they shine like they were struck yesterday. A coin like this isn't just a penny anymore, it's a museum-quality artifact. Now, here's something to keep in mind. Most people have never even checked their 1970 pennies. They might be sitting in a piggy bank, or stuck at the bottom of an old jewelry box, or hidden in the back of a dusty drawer. The beauty of this treasure hunt is that anyone, anywhere, might unknowingly be sitting on a coin worth thousands of dollars. Collectors and dealers around the world are still on the hunt for these rare 1970 Lincoln cents, especially those with errors, proof qualities, or high grades. And every year, new discoveries are being made. Ordinary people just like you are finding rare coins and turning them into major paydays. So now comes the most important part. You might be asking, how much could a 1970 Lincoln penny actually be worth? Well, here's the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to own a 1970 Lincoln 1-cent coin with a mint mark, especially one from San Francisco, and it is in uncirculated condition, or even better, features a rare error like a double die or small date variety, then you could be holding a coin worth as much as $62,000. That's right, $62,000. For a single penny. It's hard to believe, but it's true. One of the smallest denominations in American currency could turn out to be one of the most profitable finds in your collection. So what should you do next? Start looking. Examine your coin collection. Sort through that old change jar. Ask your relatives if they have old coins saved from decades ago. You never know, the next great discovery could be in your hands right now. Today, we're about to take a closer look at a tiny piece of copper that most people ignore, a coin you've probably passed over 100 times without thinking twice. But what if I told you that one ordinary-looking penny from the year 1973, with a small mint mark and a hidden story, could be worth a life-changing $65,000? That's right. Get ready, because today we're unlocking the mystery of the United States Lincoln 1-cent penny from 1973, a coin that may be sitting quietly in your collection, your pocket, or even in the bottom of an old coffee can, just waiting to be discovered. Let's dive deep into the secrets of this often overlooked coin, understand what makes it valuable, and learn exactly what to look for so you can spot a potential jackpot. First, Let's start with the time and setting. The year was 1973, a year of change, energy, and progress in America. President Richard Nixon was in office, the Vietnam War was still active, and the world was shifting quickly. While people were focused on global politics, oil prices, and pop culture, the U.S. Mint was quietly continuing the production of America's most circulated coin, the Lincoln cent. To most people, a penny is the smallest unit of currency, a coin that gets dropped on the sidewalk and ignored. But in the world of numismatics, coin collecting, that 1-cent piece can carry historical weight, design significance, and in some rare cases, enormous monetary value. Now let's look closely at the coin itself. The 1973 Lincoln penny kept the same classic design introduced in 1959, Abraham Lincoln's right-facing profile on the front, or obverse, and the majestic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The image of Lincoln was created by Victor David Brenner, originally used for the 1909 cent, and the memorial design was the work of Frank Gasparo. If you look closely at the reverse of the coin, you can even see the tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, an incredible amount of detail for such a small coin. But here's where things start to get really interesting. In 1973, the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln cents in 3 different locations: Philadelphia, which used no mint mark; Denver, marked with AD, and San Francisco, marked with an S, and often used for proof coins. Although hundreds of millions of these pennies were minted, certain coins from this year have caught the attention of collectors due to their rarity, condition, and minting anomalies, and that brings us to the exciting part. What makes one of these coins worth a fortune? It all comes down to errors, varieties, and grading. Let's start with minting errors. In any year of production, the mint occasionally makes mistakes. These aren't the kind of mistakes that get corrected, they're the kind that sneak past inspection and become part of history. In 1973, some Lincoln cents were struck with what is known as a double die. This means the coin was struck twice by the die, creating a doubling effect on the inscriptions and design elements. If you look at the date, Liberty, or In God We Trust, and see a shadow-like doubling, you could be holding a double die error coin, one of the most sought-after types in collecting, but the story doesn't stop at double dies. Other rare errors from 1973 include off-center strikes, where the design is not perfectly aligned on the coin; broad strikes, where the coin's rim is missing due to a malfunction; clipped planchets, where part of the coin's edge is missing, as if someone took a bite out of it. Struck through debris, where foreign material caused a design to be altered at minting. Coins with these errors, especially when they are sharp, clear, and dramatic, can demand premium prices at auctions. Now, let's talk about condition. Not all valuable coins are error coins, some are simply preserved so perfectly that their condition makes them rare. A coin graded MS 67 or higher, that's mint state, nearly flawless, is incredibly rare for a coin from 1973, especially considering how heavily these coins were circulated. Coin grading is done by professional services like PCGS and NGC, and it involves assessing the sharpness, luster, and preservation of the coin. A high-grade 1973 Lincoln cent, even without an error, can be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Add an error to it, and the price soars, and we haven't even mentioned the proof coins yet. Proof coins from 1973 were struck at the San Francisco Mint and have the S mint mark. These coins were made specifically for collectors and have a beautiful mirror-like finish. Some rare 1973 S-proof pennies also have errors like reverse doubling or die polishing lines, making them even more desirable. These are the coins that rarely see the light of day unless pulled from old proof sets or carefully preserved collections. The beauty of the Lincoln cent series is that it is filled with surprises. And when it comes to the 1973 penny, those surprises can sometimes lead to something big. Now, you might be thinking, I have a bunch of old pennies lying around, could one of them be valuable? The answer is, absolutely yes. The key is to examine your coins closely. Look for unusual marks, doubling, perfect surfaces, or strange cuts. Pay close attention to the mint mark. And if anything looks even slightly off, it might be time to consult a coin expert or send it in for grading, because here's the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to own a 1973 Lincoln 1-cent penny with a mint mark, especially one that is in uncirculated condition, features a clear doubled die, or shows any major mint error, it could be worth as much as $65,000. Yes, you heard that right, 65,000 US dollars. That's a massive fortune hiding in the form of a tiny copper coin. It's an incredible reminder that even the smallest, most ordinary items in our lives can hold hidden stories, incredible beauty, and shocking value, if you know where to look. So don't let that penny pass through your hands unnoticed. Check your change, sort through your drawers, and revisit your old coin collection. Because that 1 cent from 1973 might just be worth a small fortune. Today we're about to uncover the fascinating story of one of the most overlooked coins in American pockets, the 1975 United States Lincoln 1-cent penny with mint mark. This tiny copper coin, often forgotten in jars, drawers, and couch cushions, could turn out to be a hidden gem worth up to $70,000. Yes, you heard that right. So don't blink. Don't skip. And stay with us, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for in a 1975 Lincoln penny, and how something as small as a single cent might hold the power to change your life. Let's begin by taking a step back in time. The year was 1975. America was still healing from the long and difficult years of the Vietnam War. The Watergate scandal had rocked the nation. The Cold War was ongoing. Yet, through all of this, life continued. People went to work, bought groceries, filled their cars with gas, and used pennies to pay for parking meters and candy bars, and among all those coins passed from hand to hand was the unassuming Lincoln 1-cent coin, still bearing the iconic face of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. At first glance, there was nothing special about this penny. But as we're about to uncover, that couldn't be further from the truth. Let's talk about the design for a moment. The obverse, or front of the coin, features the familiar right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner back in 1909. It's the same design that honored the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. It had already been in use for decades by the time 1975 rolled around, and it still stands strong today as a symbol of American legacy. Flip the coin to the reverse, and you'll see the impressive Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. What most people don't realize is that within the columns of the memorial, if you look closely enough, you can actually see the tiny seated figure of Lincoln himself. It's a small detail, but it shows the incredible craftsmanship behind even the most common coins. Now let's move to the real heart of the story, the 1975 Lincoln penny with mint marks, and what makes certain examples worth a fortune. In 1975, Lincoln cents were minted in 3 places: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The ones struck in Denver bear a small D mint mark under the date. San Francisco coins, mainly proof versions, carry an S mint mark. Coins struck in Philadelphia carried no mint mark at all. The vast majority of these pennies were minted for circulation, billions, in fact. They were used daily, spent, dropped, lost, and collected. But here's where things get interesting. Despite the enormous number produced, a very small number of 1975 Lincoln cents turned out to be extremely rare and incredibly valuable. How? Let's start with condition. Most coins that go into circulation become scratched, worn, or tarnished over time. But some coins escape that fate. Some are carefully preserved in rolls, mint sets, or private collections. These untouched coins are called uncirculated, and if they maintain flawless surfaces, rich luster, and sharp details, they can receive extremely high grades when submitted to professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. Coins graded MS 67 or higher, short for mint state, are considered exceptionally rare. Even without errors, a high-grade 1975 Lincoln penny with a mint mark can be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars, but that's only the beginning. The real treasures are the error coins, coins that were misstruck, doubled, or improperly minted at the factory. And in 1975, a few of these error pennies slipped through the cracks and into the hands of the public. Some of the rarest and most valuable errors from 1975 include double die obverse, DDO, where the inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust appear doubled under magnification. This is a prize type of error that instantly raises the value of the coin. Off-center strikes, where the coin design is shifted to one side, creating a crescent-like blank area. Broad strikes, where the rim of the coin is missing and the image spreads out unnaturally, die cracks or cuds, where the coin appears to have raised lines, blobs, or breaks due to damage in the die used to strike it. Struck through errors, where a foreign object like cloth or wire left an impression during the minting process. These types of mint errors are not just anomalies, they're incredibly desirable. Serious collectors often compete at auctions for these pieces, and the rarer and cleaner the error, the higher the price. Now, let's not forget the proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint. These coins were specially made for collectors, struck multiple times with polished dies to achieve a high contrast, mirror-like finish. A 1975 S-proof penny in perfect condition, especially one with a rare error or unusual feature, can be highly collectible, but what makes the 1975 Lincoln penny truly legendary is when all these factors come together: the right mint mark, a major error, and top-grade condition. So here comes the moment you've been waiting for. If you're lucky enough to find a 1975 Lincoln 1-cent coin with a mint mark, especially one that features a significant mint error, and it's in uncirculated or mint state condition, then you could be holding a coin that's not worth just a few dollars, not even just a few thousand. It could be worth as much as $70,000. That's right, 70,000 US dollars for a single penny. That's a fortune hidden in plain sight. A coin so small, yet so powerful, it could transform your old collection into a goldmine. So, here's the big takeaway: don't ignore those old pennies. Go through your collections, your coin jars, your old albums, and your family's forgotten stashes. Take a close look at the 1975 Lincoln cents. Check for mint marks, inspect them under a magnifying glass, and if anything seems unusual or uncirculated, get it checked by a professional, because you never know, your next big find could be just 1 cent away. Today's episode is going to open your eyes to the hidden power of something we see every day, but never really pay attention to. That's right, we're talking about the United States of America Lincoln 1-cent penny from 1976. Now, don't underestimate it just because it's only a penny. This single, small copper coin might look like pocket change, but in rare cases, it's worth tens of thousands of dollars. In fact, if you stay with us until the very end of this video, we'll reveal how one of these seemingly ordinary 1976 Lincoln pennies, especially with the right mint mark and features, has sold for up to $78,000. So grab your coin jars, magnifying glasses, and a sense of adventure, because we're diving deep into a fascinating blend of American history, minting technology, rare coin errors, and collector gold mines, all hidden within the humble 1976 penny. Let's rewind for a moment. The year 1976 was a monumental one in the United States. It was the country's bicentennial, 200 years of independence. The entire nation was celebrating. Fireworks lit up the skies, parades filled the streets, and the U.S. Mint released special bicentennial quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins featuring patriotic designs. But while these larger coins grabbed the spotlight, the Lincoln cent continued quietly in the background, unchanged, or so it seemed. That's what makes this story so interesting. The 1976 Lincoln penny didn't get a special bicentennial redesign. It retained its classic form, the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparro. A timeless look that honored both Lincoln's legacy and the stability of American coinage. But here's the twist: within this unchanged design lies a rare and valuable opportunity, especially when it comes to mint marks, condition, and error varieties. Let's start with the basics. In 1976, Lincoln cents were minted in 3 main locations: Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark; Denver Mint, with a D mint mark; San Francisco Mint, with an S mint mark. Mostly for proof coins, the vast majority of these coins were struck in large quantities. Over 8 billion 1976 Lincoln pennies were produced across the 3 mints. So you might be thinking, how can a coin so common be worth anything? Here's where things get fascinating: the value isn't in how many were made, it's in how few survived in rare condition, or how few have rare minting errors that collectors go crazy for. Let's break it down into what truly makes a 1976 Lincoln penny worth real money. Point 1. Condition, grade. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin, flawless, mint state, untouched. Most pennies in circulation are nowhere near that. But once in a while, someone finds a 1976 penny in uncirculated or near-perfect condition, graded MS 65, MS 66, or even MS 67. These coins can already command hundreds to thousands of dollars without any error at all, purely because of their condition and rarity in such pristine state. Point 2. Minting errors. Now this is where the real treasure lies. Certain 1976 pennies were struck with mistakes during the minting process, known as error coins. These are considered extremely collectible and valuable, especially when the errors are visually obvious and dramatic. Here are some errors to look out for. Double die obverse, DDO, one of the most famous types of errors. This happens when the die strikes the coin twice in slightly different positions. You'll see doubling in the letters Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. Coins with strong doubling are extremely valuable. Off-center strikes, the design of the coin appears shifted off its center axis, creating an uneven look, sometimes leaving parts of the coin blank. Die cracks and cuds, these appear as raised lines or blobs of metal, usually near the rim or within the design, caused by worn or damaged dies. Struck through errors, occurs when a foreign object, like a piece of fabric or grease, gets between the die and the blank during minting, leaving a strange imprint. Clipped planchet, a portion of the coin is missing in a curved or straight section, due to a misfeed in the cutting process. Collectors pay serious money for coins with these features, especially when they appear on a 1976 penny in great condition and with a visible mint mark. Point 3. Proof coins and special finishes. Proof coins were struck at the San Francisco Mint and are marked with an S. These coins were never intended for circulation, they were made with care, using polished dies and specially prepared blanks. They have mirror-like surfaces and frosty designs. A 1976 S-proof Lincoln cent, if preserved perfectly in its original packaging, can be quite valuable, especially if it shows unique features or came from a low mintage batch. Some proof coins also exhibit cameo or deep cameo contrast, where the raised design stands out sharply against the mirror fields of the coin. These are especially prized among collectors, but wait, there's one more category that puts everything else in the shadows: the combination of all three. A 1976 Lincoln penny with a rare error, in uncirculated mint state condition, and with a visible mint mark, especially D or S. These coins are the ultimate prize. Collectors and auction houses have seen bidding wars erupt over coins like these, where condition, rarity, and history collide. And the final sale prices are often shocking to people who thought pennies were worthless. So now comes the moment you've all been waiting for. If you're lucky enough to discover a 1976 United States Lincoln 1-cent penny with a mint mark, and it's in mint state condition, or even better, contains a significant mint error such as a double die or dramatic off-center strike, then you could be looking at a value of up to $78,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $78,000 for a penny. A single copper coin, once thought of as pocket change, could now buy you a brand new car, cover college tuition, or even become the down payment on your dream home. And the best part? These coins are still out there. In old collections, forgotten drawers, inherited boxes, or even spare change. All you need is a sharp eye, a little knowledge, and a lot of curiosity. So here's your mission: go check your coins. Especially those 1976 Lincoln cents. Look for mint marks. Inspect for doubling. Look at the edges. Shine a light on them. What may seem ordinary could be something truly extraordinary. If you found this video helpful, exciting, or inspiring, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on future videos. We're here every week uncovering the secrets of rare and valuable coins, and helping everyday people discover hidden fortunes in the smallest places. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting.